The clock is ticking, and these grocery items won't be around for much longer. You might not realize it yet, but some of your everyday essentials are quietly disappearing from store shelves, and before you know it, they'll be nearly impossible to find. No, this isn't just some rumor or hype. This is already happening, and time is running out to stock up. In today's video, we're revealing 15 grocery items that are on the verge of vanishing. From pantry staples to must-have ingredients, we'll break down exactly what's causing these products to leave shelves so quickly and why you need to act fast before they're completely gone. Whether it's ongoing supply chain issues, skyrocketing demand, or unexpected disruptions, there's always a reason behind these sudden shortages. Stay tuned until the end so you know exactly which items to add to your next grocery haul before it's too late. Don't wait until they're gone. Grab them while you still can. 1. Chocolate and cocoa crisis. Chocolate lovers, brace yourselves. We've got bad news. Your favorite sweet treat is in serious trouble. Chocolate bars are getting smaller, prices are climbing, and it all comes down to the global cocoa market being in free fall. Here's what's happening. Ghana, the world's second-largest cocoa producer, is battling a devastating virus called swollen shoot disease. It's wiped out a shocking 17% of their cocoa trees, leaving next year's harvest at just 2/3 of their usual crop. And over in Côte d'Ivoire, the top cocoa grower, things aren't much better. Aging trees and late scorching winds have turned this into a nightmare for cocoa farmers. The result? Global cocoa supplies are draining fast. European storage ports, which handle much of the world's cocoa, now have only 47 days of supply left. That's alarming for chocolate companies. To cope, some brands are chopping down bar sizes while slyly raising prices. Others are diluting their recipes with substitutes like palm oil. Yuck. It's not just local farms struggling either. U.S. manufacturers scrambling for cocoa from Ecuador are facing sky-high shipping costs thanks to Panama Canal shipping restrictions caused by drought. And if that's not bad enough, big investors are betting on cocoa prices, shooting up even more, adding fuel to the fire. Bottom line, prices aren't coming down anytime soon. If you've got a sweet tooth or holiday baking plans, now's the time to stock up. Grab your chocolate bars and cocoa powder before shelves start emptying and prices rise even higher. Don't wait until it's too late. 2. Avocados under siege. If guacamole is your love language or avocado toast is your Sunday ritual, listen up. Avocados are turning into a luxury item, and the supply chain chaos is only getting worse. Here's the scoop. Last year, the U.S. stopped importing avocados from Michoacán, Mexico, for a week after cartel threats against inspectors. That brief pause yanked 42 million pounds of avocados off the market, leaving shelves empty. Even though imports resumed, stricter export rules haven't made things any easier. Workers now wear body cameras during loading, slowing everything down by about 18%. At the same time, El Niño has wreaked havoc with heavy rains and mudslides, wiping out 7% of Michoacán's avocado groves. And the fallout doesn't stop there. Replanting trees takes years, and other suppliers like Chile are struggling too. A historic drought has slashed Chile's exports as reservoirs hit just 25% of normal capacity. The U.S. is trying to source avocados from newer areas like Colombia and Jalisco, but those regions can't match the logistics or volume we need. With wholesale prices now topping $68.00 for a 22-pound carton, some fast food menus are treating avocado like seafood, listing it at market price. Adding to the chaos, cosmetic companies are buying up avocado pits for oils, pushing lower-quality fruit away from grocery shelves. Here's the takeaway. Affordable avocados are vanishing fast. If you see them for under $1 each, snag them. Prices could stay sky-high until August, when Mexico's next harvest rolls in. And don't be surprised if Cinco de Mayo parties leave store shelves empty. Stock up now if you want to keep enjoying those creamy green gems. 3. Lettuce lovers, beware. Salad fans? Things are getting dicey for lettuce. If you've spotted a sad, wilted head or noticed prices creeping up, there's a reason behind it. The U.S. lettuce supply is in trouble, and it's not looking good for the months ahead. Here's the deal. The Salinas Valley in California, famously called America's Salad Bowl, had a rough spring. A mix of damp fog and mildew kept the lettuce from sizing up like it should. Combine that with the end of Arizona's desert growing season, and there's now a production gap at the worst possible time, right as demand heats up. Harvest teams are also grappling with rising temperatures. Extreme heat over 90 degrees means less harvesting hours, and that slows down the entire process. On top of that, pesky issues like thrip scarring and internal burn are forcing crews to double-check every single head of lettuce, creating even more delays. But it doesn't end there. Water shortages are hitting hard. Organic growers in California and Nevada are cutting back on planting because they're receiving 15% less water for their drip systems. To make things worse, the INSV virus is spreading like wildfire this year. Carried by thrips, tiny bugs that thrived in a mild winter, this virus is wreaking havoc on romaine fields especially, with school contracts kicking off in June and processors already paying sky-high prices of $30.00 per carton. We're staring at surging costs and potential shortages at the grocery store. Want to avoid high prices and slim pickings? Stock up on hardy varieties like romaine or green leaf now. Store them properly, and you'll breeze through summer without the lettuce blues. 4. Sugar shortage alert. Sugar might seem like a pantry staple that's always there, but the global sugar supply chain is skating on thin ice. If you enjoy baking or have a sweet tooth, pay close attention, because this one's going to sting. Here's what's happening. India, the world's second largest sugar producer, is pulling up to 5 million tons of sugar this year to make ethanol for fuel blending. That's 5 million tons gone from the export market. To make things worse, about a third of India's sugar mills shut down early due to poor cane harvests, leaving their stockpile nearly depleted. As a result, India is expected to limit exports even further. Brazil tried to pick up the slack with a strong harvest, but drought delayed the sugarcane ripening. Now, export ports like Santos are clogged with delays, and ships are idling for up to 5 extra days just to load cargo. These bottlenecks are driving up freight prices and making Brazilian shipments more costly. Analysts predict a global sugar shortage totaling about 1.7 million tons for the upcoming season. It doesn't end there. Refineries in Europe and North Africa are struggling to meet demand due to skyrocketing natural gas costs, meaning refined sugar is in even shorter supply. Food companies are already dealing with higher cocoa prices, and now sweetener costs are spiking too. What does that mean for you? Higher prices for candy, cookies, and baking staples this summer. If you're planning to whip up desserts for the 4th of July or any summer celebrations, now's the time to stock up on white granulated sugar, brown sugar, and powdered sugar before shelves start to empty. Once baking season is in full swing, you could be left scrambling. Act now while you can. Pice 5, Orange Juice Crisis. If you love a glass of orange juice with your breakfast, here's some troubling news. That refreshing staple is quickly becoming a luxury, and there are big reasons why. Florida, once synonymous with orange groves, is grappling with its smallest orange crop since World War II. The culprit? A devastating disease called citrus greening has been ravaging groves, slashing both the quantity and quality of the fruit. Add in last year's storms and major flooding, and the state's total orange haul is expected to be a shocking 11.5 million boxes this season. Usually Brazil steps in to balance the global supply, but this year they're not much help either. A brutal heat wave in Sao Paulo's citrus belt ruined a large part of the crop, with fruit failing to meet the sugar content needed for premium juice. Less juice per orange equals higher prices for everyone. Inventories are dangerously low. Juice processors currently have just 5 weeks' worth of global supply on hand. To cope, companies are cutting corners by blending other fruits like mandarin or mango into orange juice. It might still be labeled as 100% orange juice, but the flavor and quality aren't quite the same. Here's the kicker. Orange juice prices are through the roof, and they're about to climb even higher. Futures have skyrocketed since 2022, and a $2.30 bottle from 2 years ago now costs $4.50 or more. Add in rising transport costs, new tariffs, and trade restrictions, and it's a perfect storm for your wallet. Want to stay ahead? Stock up on frozen concentrate while you can. It lasts for months and gives you that fresh OJ flavor when you need it. Don't wait too long, though. Orange juice might just disappear from your budget altogether. 6. Olive oil trouble ahead. If olive oil is a kitchen must-have for you, brace yourself. This pantry staple is getting harder to find and more expensive to buy, and the reasons are piling up like a recipe for disaster. Southern Europe, the olive oil capital of the world, finally caught a break after 2 years of crippling drought. But here's the catch. Even with better weather, extra virgin olive oil reserves are at a shocking 20-year low. Many olive trees are still recovering from past droughts, with stressed crops producing fewer olives than needed. Spain, the largest producer, saw spot prices dip slightly this spring, but grocery aisles tell a different story. Why? Stores are still packed with old stock bought at last year's sky-high prices. Until that inventory clears, you're not seeing any discounts. Meanwhile, in Italy, a tree disease called Xylella devastated 20% of Apulie's olive groves. Rebuilding those farms will take years, keeping prices steep for the foreseeable future. If that wasn't enough, the biodiesel industry is snapping up olive oil because it's ideal for fuel. Now, food producers and fuel companies are battling over the same supply. Even shipping is a mess. U.S. importers are facing delays and increased costs due to rerouted cargo. To compensate, Tunisia has stepped in, but their olive oil prices shot up 70% last year due to soaring demand. Still seeing extra virgin olive oil under $8.00? Don't wait. Grab a few bottles and stock up, because the global supply is hanging on by a thread. Whether it's a simple salad or your go-to marinade, olive oil could become one of the most expensive ingredients in your pantry. Make the smart move now. 7. Coffee Chaos Brewing. Attention, coffee lovers. If your morning brew feels heavier on your wallet, there's a reason. And it's about to get worse. Brace yourselves, because the coffee crisis is heating up. Arabica coffee prices have skyrocketed, doubling since last spring. Why? Brazil, the top coffee producer in the world, had a tough season, with output dropping by over 12%. And that's not all. Vietnam, the leading Robusta grower, just faced its worst drought in a decade, further squeezing supply. But weather isn't the only culprit. New U.S. tariffs on coffee imports from Brazil and Indonesia have upped the cost by an extra 10 cents per pound. Shipping issues are piling on too. Exporters are avoiding conflict zones like the Red Sea, forcing longer, pricier routes. Even the Panama Canal is struggling, limiting daily ship traffic because of drought, which means more delays and higher freight expenses. Add surging fertilizer costs and Brazil's steep 9% interest rates, and farmers are unable to replant or expand, stretching this shortage into 2026. Meanwhile, speculators are driving up prices further, betting coffee will only get pricier. What does this mean for your cup? Small coffee shops are dropping specialty blends and single auger options because they can't stay competitive. Supermarkets and major brands are cutting Arabica content and sneaking in cheaper Robusta beans to stabilize prices. Even instant coffee makers are lowering quality to stretch supply. If you brew coffee at home, act now. Grab a 5 or 10 pound bag of your favorite beans. With summer's iced coffee craze looming and bulk bins expected to empty, prices could surge even higher. Stock up now to ensure your mornings stay caffeinated and stress-free. 8. Egg prices are breaking records. Eggs have always been the go-to budget-friendly staple, until now. In 2025, they're becoming a grocery aisle headache instead of a fridge staple. And here's why you might want to grab an extra dozen soon. The average price for a dozen eggs has soared to $6.23, and this time, it's not another bird flu outbreak driving costs up. It's a mix of ongoing supply issues and rising expenses for farmers. The number of egg-laying hens is still 4% below pre-pandemic levels, mostly because small farms couldn't get loans to restock after the last flu wave. Fewer hens plus higher demand equals sticker shock for shoppers. Feed costs are another nightmare. With drought hitting the Midwest and shipping delays on the Mississippi River, corn prices are climbing fast, up 12% in some areas. Plus, more corn is being funneled into ethanol production, making feed even pricier. States with strict cage-free housing laws are also driving up costs, pushing 10 million hens into more expensive specialty production systems. The ripple effects don't stop there. Eggs meant for industrial uses like liquid pasteurized egg products are stuck in processing bottlenecks. That means more eggs are being redirected to grocery stores, creating strain everywhere else. Restaurants are cutting egg dishes, bakeries are paying premium prices, and everyone from mayo brands to home cooks is scrambling for supply. With BBQ and picnic season ramping up, egg-heavy favorites like deviled eggs and potato salads will only drive up demand. If eggs are a kitchen essential for you, buy now. Eggs stored in the fridge can last weeks, and yes, you can freeze them too. Don't wait for another price surge. Your breakfast and wallet will thank you later. 9. Beef prices are heating up. If your favorite summer cookout plans involve steaks or burgers, here's a sizzling warning. Beef is disappearing fast, and prices are set to climb even higher. The U.S. cattle herd is now at its lowest in over 70 years, sitting at just 86.7 million head. Years of drought forced ranchers to sell cows early, and rebuilding herds isn't happening fast enough. Calf supplies are still way below normal, meaning fewer cattle are heading to market. The ripple effect? Ground beef averages $5.63 per pound, up nearly 10% from last year. And steaks? Even pricier. Feedlots are holding fewer cattle because the costs of feeding and watering them is soaring. Rising interest rates are adding even more pressure, with ranchers selling earlier to avoid extra costs. Looking for relief from imports? Don't hold your breath. Mexico faces steep tariffs, and Australia might get slapped with extra carbon taxes, making imported beef even more expensive. By midsummer, expect menu price hikes at steakhouses and burger joints, as well as fewer beef promotions at the grocery store. With holidays like Father's Day and the 4th of July around the corner, demand for ribeyes, briskets, and even regular roasts will skyrocket. Many stores will limit discounts, making it harder to snag your favorite cuts at reasonable prices. If you've got a freezer, now's the time to stock up. Grab those family packs of steaks or an extra roast while you can still find a deal. This isn't just a summer issue, it's a long-term shortage. Act fast and secure your grilling essentials before they're gone. 10. Sugarcane beverage cans crisis. This one might catch you off guard, not because of the drink itself, but the can it comes in. Aluminum beverage cans are heading into serious shortage territory, and sugarcane-based drinks are on the front lines of this squeeze. Here's why. A major refinery fire in March wiped out 12% of the U.S. can sheet aluminum supply. Big players like Coke, Pepsi, and Monster are locking in their orders first, leaving smaller brands like niche sugarcane sodas and organic energy drinks struggling to get their share. What was once a 3-week wait for cans is now nearly 10 weeks. To make matters worse, PET plastic bottles aren't saving the day. Resin shortages and rising prices in the plastic industry are making that switch just as tough. Throw in soaring aluminum tariffs and costly shipping route detours, and every part of the beverage supply chain seems to be hitting a wall. The result? Your favorite sugarcane sodas or health-friendly drinks might vanish from shelves, not because the drink is gone, but because there aren't enough cans to package it. Even 12 packs of flavored sodas and energy drinks are seeing unpredictable prices and availability. If you're a fan of these beverages, stock up now. Don't wait, thinking shelves will magically replenish. This can shortage might quietly take your favorite drinks off the market sooner than you'd expect. Keep your fridge stocked before summer's heat dries up the selection. 11. Tea troubles brewing. Tea drinkers, it's time to wake up and smell the crisis. Your soothing daily brew is about to get pricier, and you might see your favorite teas vanish from the shelves. Here's the deal. Kenya, one of the top global suppliers of black tea, just endured its driest start to the year in over 6 years, wiping out their crucial first flush harvest. Production plummeted by 13%, and auction prices have already spiked by 27%. That price shock is trickling right into your grocery store. Global demand for Kenya's high-quality tea stays high, so even a small drop in supply is hitting hard. Over in India's Assam region, notorious flooding from last year set tea producers back, and this year hasn't been much better. Costs for essentials like fertilizer and power are through the roof, and production can't catch up. At the same time, escalating freight expenses are pushing shipping costs sky high, even tripling in some cases. These price and supply chain woes are already affecting what you see on store shelves. Some tea brands have quietly shrunk their sizes while keeping prices steady. Premium and loose-leaf teas are facing delayed shipments and limited availability, leaving frequent tea drinkers frustrated. If you think herbal teas are in the clear, think again. Packaging and shipping costs are squeezing even those blends, creating price hikes across the board. Summer iced tea season is just ramping up, and with lean inventories, we could see sudden shortages of everyday teas and specialty blends alike. For tea lovers, the solution is simple. Stock up. Whether it's loose leaf, bagged black tea, or your go-to herbal blends, grab extras now. Tea, when stored properly, can last over a year without losing much quality. Don't wait for prices to surge or for your favorite brews to disappear completely. Secure your stash and stay ahead of the tea troubles. Empty cooking oil crisis. Bottled gold vanishing fast. You might want to take a long, hard look at your pantry staples, because cooking oil is shaping up to be the next big grocery headache. From vegetable oil to sunflower and canola, global supplies are tightening fast, and what's available is getting far more expensive. Here's the cold, hard truth. Argentina, one of the world's top producers of sunflower oil, has been battling relentless droughts that decimated this year's crop yields. Reports indicate up to a 25% drop in production, with exports slashed drastically to prioritize local demand. On the other side of the globe, palm oil output from Indonesia and Malaysia, the world's largest exporters, has been crippled by extreme weather swings, labor shortages, and strict export controls aimed at stabilizing their domestic food prices. But the pain doesn't stop there. The war in Ukraine, a key sunflower oil producer, is still choking supply routes and limiting exports. All of these factors are converging at once, creating a perfect storm for dwindling inventories and skyrocketing prices. Domestic processors are struggling to fill shelves, and food manufacturers are quietly reformulating products to use less oil or cheaper substitutes, which, let's be honest, won't deliver the same quality in your favorite snacks and baked goods. Even basics like olive oil aren't safe. Southern Europe's brutal heat waves last season shrank olive harvests dramatically, sending extra virgin olive oil prices soaring by over 40% in the past year alone. And with freight costs ballooning, expect even store-banned oils to carry hefty price tags soon. So what's the move here? Buy in bulk and diversify. Stock up on your go-to oils, but consider alternatives like avocado, grapeseed, or coconut oil while they're still available. Stored properly, cool, dark, airtight, most oils can last 12 to 18 months before turning rancid. Don't let your favorite cooking essentials slip away. Grab extra bottles now before the shelves turn bare and the price tags spike higher. 13. Canned tuna. Turmoil, a protein staple at risk. If canned tuna is a cornerstone of your quick lunches or emergency pantry stash, brace yourself. This lean, protein-packed favorite is swimming into troubled waters, literally and figuratively. Across the globe, tuna supplies are tightening, and the fallout is creeping into grocery stores faster than many shoppers realize. Let's start with the oceans. The tuna fishing grounds in the Western Pacific and Indian Oceans have faced strict new quota limits aimed at conserving dwindling fish populations. These environmental protections are vital long-term, but short-term? They've slashed available catches by as much as 20%. Coupled with soaring fuel prices hammering fishing fleets, many boats simply aren't going out as often, or as far. The result? Reduced harvests, fewer shipments, and rising costs across the supply chain. That's not all. Major tuna canneries in Southeast Asia, the heartbeat of global canned tuna production, are grappling with labor shortages, higher processing costs, and tightening food safety regulations. Freight disruptions and container shortages have only worsened matters, with shipping times for canned goods nearly doubling in some cases. Closer to home, big-name tuna brands are quietly making adjustments. Some are switching to smaller can sizes while keeping price tags unchanged, leaving loyal shoppers getting less for their money. Others are cutting back on premium albacore options or flavored varieties to focus on cheaper blends that are easier to produce in tight markets. For savvy shoppers, the game plan is clear. Stock up smartly. Canned tuna boasts a long shelf life, typically 3 to 5 years when stored in a cool, dry spot, making it an ideal candidate for bulk buying. Prioritize high-protein varieties like chunk light or solid white albacore, and don't forget to rotate your stash to keep it fresh. Tuna shortages could make even budget-friendly meal prep pricier in the months ahead. Lock in your supply now while shelves are still stocked and choices are plentiful. 14. Rice running dry. The world's staple grain under pressure. Rice isn't just a side dish. It's a global dietary backbone, feeding more than half the world's population daily. But here's what most shoppers aren't hearing. Rice supplies are teetering on the edge, and empty shelves or soaring prices could be just around the corner. If you rely on rice, whether it's jasmine, basmati, long grain, or short grain, it's time to pay close attention. Let's start with India, the world's largest rice exporter, which supplies over 40% of global rice trade. Recently, the Indian government imposed sweeping export bans and restrictions on key rice varieties to control rising domestic food inflation and ensure supplies for its own population. Overnight, this wiped out millions of tons of rice from the global market, sending shockwaves through international buyers and spiking prices in Asia, Africa, and even Western countries. Meanwhile, extreme weather isn't helping. Catastrophic monsoon flooding in Bangladesh and northern India drowned acres of rice paddies last season. Over in Southeast Asia, Vietnam and Thailand, two other rice powerhouses are grappling with prolonged droughts that have shriveled crops and stressed irrigation systems. Even in the U.S., rice growers in Arkansas and California faced water shortages and planting delays, pushing American yields to some of their lowest levels in years. And it doesn't end there. Rising costs of fertilizers, fuel, and transportation have driven up production and shipping expenses across the board. Some suppliers have quietly increased bag prices by 15–25% in the past 6 months alone. And with fewer export options, domestic supplies are being stretched thin. Here's what smart shoppers need to do. Stock up on versatile varieties now. White rice, if sealed tightly and stored in a cool, dry place, can last up to 30 years in proper conditions. Brown rice has a shorter shelf life, about 6 to 12 months, due to higher oil content. But vacuum sealing or freezing can extend that dramatically. Whether you're prepping for everyday meals or building an emergency food stash, buying extra rice now could save you headaches and serious money later.